Oh gosh, where do I start? I grew up in Reno, Nevada. Had a difficult childhood. My mother was a chronic alcoholic. My father would cope with that by disappearing into his own sort of alcoholic abyss. And the result was a fairly chaotic, often violent household. I could summarize it all by saying that between the ages of 12 and 17, I spent better than half of my time either living on the streets, either in San Francisco or Los Angeles, or in juvenile detention. I got admitted to law school, did really well in my first year. Halfway through my second year of law school, my mother was killed in an automobile accident. To say it affected me deeply would be an understatement. I was shattered. At the time, it felt incredibly unbearable. And an acquaintance of mine slid over a mirror of cocaine and said, "Try this, you'll feel better." And I did. In fact, sort of everything that was bearing down on me emotionally magically disappeared. I ended up not finishing my second year of law school. I just disappeared. Things didn't get better. In fact, they got worse in the sense that my older brother, who had essentially been through what I'd been through, committed suicide, which sent me tumbling even deeper into my addiction. But somehow through all of that, I managed to talk my way back into law school at the University of Arizona, finished my degree. They had me take the bar exam again, which I passed. And then, of course, no surprise that they announced that there would be a formal investigation into whether I had the requisite character and fitness to practice law. Suffice it to say that it concluded with the Arizona bar telling me, no, not only will you not be admitted as a lawyer, you will likely never be a lawyer. By this time, which was 1988, as a result of my addiction, I was $250,000 in debt. And the truth be told, at the time, I had still not faced the reality that my issues at least started with being so deeply addicted to cocaine. And I was genuinely considering the path my brother took in killing myself. But something inspired me to take the other solution that many drug addicts and alcoholics take, and that is move somewhere else. Because at that time I hadn't learned the lesson of my only problem is that no matter where I go, there I am. I moved to Florida, went to work in a different line of work, still thought about becoming a lawyer. Took a walk on the beach and realized that my biggest fear in life was that I would turn out like my parents and go down a path of addiction, and for the first time admitted to myself that that's exactly the path I was on. So I called Bill Kilby at Florida Lawyers Assistants and went in to see him. He listened to my whole story, and he very calmly said to me, "If you do everything I tell you to do, you'll become a lawyer." And I believed him. So I went to rehab, got clean. I spent some time with psychologists, psychiatrists. I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety, and something several therapists called the imposter syndrome, where you, even when you're experiencing some level of success, you have this, I know I had this sort of gnawing feeling that I was just a fraud and that it was all a front, and sort of living in constant fear, if not terror, that someday I'd be found out and people would figure out that I was worthless and didn't deserve any of it. It took me until 1993. I applied to take the Florida bar exam, took the bar exam. I was ultimately admitted. I've been practicing here in Key West ever since. You know, back then, it was the one thing that kept me going was fear. I think I've come to realize that it's one of the most powerful motivators we have as human beings. my fear that I really wanted to be, sort of a capable, lovable human being, superimposed with the fear that I wasn't. That's what it felt like all the time back then. At some level, through the haze of being addicted to cocaine, through the fog of unresolved issues and feelings and sort of traumas in my life, that I knew deep down inside I had some ability to be a decent human being in my relationship with others. And I knew deep down inside that there was something I would be good at, and that I genuinely thought, if given a chance, I would be good at lawyering. It took me a long time to realize that that's sort of what was underneath the fear. But all of that to say it looks very different to me now. I'm incredibly lucky to live in Key West, Florida. Fishing, swimming, snorkeling, boating, going to the beach, all favorite things for me. I strive every day to appreciate the simpler things in life: walking my dog, taking a run, riding a bike. I have a profound love of music. My spouse and my partner in life and I own a jazz club on Duval Street. So most nights I get to go and listen to world-class musicians performing live, and enjoy the company of our friends and visitors to the island enjoying the same thing. I probably the one thing that kept me in a profound level of addiction and kept me on a path of such incredible self-destructiveness was this kind of crazy notion that I had to do it all myself. I think the most important thing for anyone who's struggling is to not only reach out, but be willing to accept help. I've certainly learned from my own experiences that there are countless people, I think like me, who have been through some real struggles, some real challenges, who then devote themselves. I know I've done my best to devote myself to helping others who have faced similar issues in their lives. It's why I've stayed involved with Florida Lawyers Assistance for so long. It's why I'm always available. There's real magic in people helping people.